presented various international conferences. In that, we involved myself, presented in case study on hypothyroidism in National Journal of Oncology, first ever overseas seminar at Japan in February 2015. My presented an overseas paper on counseling of parents for children with special needs, a concurrent homeopathic perspective, at the first Malaysian International Integrated Management of Children with Special Needs at Cyberjaya University College of Medical Sciences, Malaysia. The ma'am is here today to share an energetic and refreshing perspective on assessment of temperament and its application in prescription. I welcome the speaker, Hahnemann of ma'am, to the section, and I welcome you all. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Screen share open chapter. Okay. Should I begin? Should I begin?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. A very warm and a very good afternoon to everybody, to all my esteemed teachers, dear colleagues, and all my dear students and the delegates who are come for this seminar today, or we should rather call it webinar. To begin with, at the very outset, I would like to thank Dr. Vivekanand Venikar, Dean of YHMCH Medical College, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to present before you a very nice topic. Dr. Shilpi Rastogi, the coordinator, Professor and HOD of Anatomy, Dr. Janita Fernandez, a very close friend of mine, and what you can almost say we are grown up in the same department in our initial student days. Dr. Rizwana and Dr. Shreya Padiyar, the faculty in charge members. 2 weeks back, I remember, it was 2 or 3 approximately weeks back, I got a call from your college, YHMCH Medical College, saying that I've been invited to speak on this wonderful forum. And after talking to the HOD, the head of Department of Organon, Dr. Janita, we decided upon this wonderful topic. I call this wonderful topic or an important topic of what I'm going to speak, because by the end of the presentation, I think we all will agree that temperament basically is a very small aspect of the whole constitution. And as we already know, constitution is the core of temperament. Sorry, constitution is the core of our homeopathic prescription, and the core of constitution is temperament. So that is how it becomes a very, very important aspect in prescription. So to begin with, mild technical hiccup, please bear with us. Yeah, to begin with, first I will give my respects and homage to 2 great teachers. First of all, my guide and my teacher of Organon in my UG and my PG days. He was also my guide, Dr. Raravi. And my other teacher, Dr. Barinaz Zumranwala, ode to this great teacher because she has an extensive work on temperaments an important perspective in bringing about a facet of homeopathic totality. And I had the opportunity to be with her on many occasions to study temperaments.
Okay.
So basically, I would like to, introduce you first to the different aspects of understanding temperaments. First, we will begin with constitution. We'll try to understand what does constitution actually mean. Then we go to diathesis, a small definition of diathesis. Then we understand what is personality and how temperament can be inculcated in all this and how does it matter. So
you can just continue with that one. Just
so
you're not able to see the definition.
You're not able to see.
Yes, ma'am.
शेयर क्यों नहीं किया होगा?
शेयर किया था।
So dear participants, sorry for the interruption. Actually, our resource person is facing some network issues. So be online, ma'am will join within 2 minutes. Sorry for the interruption, ma'am will join within 2 minutes. I request all of you please mute your microphones.
Check what happens.
अब देख लीजिए. Hello.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Will I continue? Can I go to the previous slide or is it okay?
Okay, ma'am, we can continue.
Should I go to the previous slide?
Ma'am.
Dr. Rizwana?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, should I go to the previous slide or continue the same one?
From starting, ma'am.
The previous slide, should I go, Dr. Rizwana, or should I continue the same?
Ma'am, you can start from the first, ma'am, because we didn't hear, I think your mic is on mute. So can we start, ma'am?
My mic is on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's clear, ma'am.
It's clear now? Okay, fine. I'll go from
Yeah.
the beginning. Okay, fine, fine.
Okay, okay, fine, ma'am.
Yeah. I hope we don't have any technical problems now. So I begin my presentation. So basically, we are going to talk on a very important topic called as temperament. Once I got a call from the Department of Organo from the Medical College with what you call a lot of what you call input from that department also. We decided we'll talk on temperament today. Temperament basically is a very small aspect of the whole case taking, but it is a core of a constitution. Constitution is the core of a patient and temperament is core of the constitution. So it's such an important topic, though it's very minuscule or very small one. So before actually going into what is temperament in its holistic way, I would like us to get acquainted with some terms which we are already acquainted, that is constitution. Okay, what does constitution mean? The term constitution comes from the Latin word constituere, constitute, to set up, to establish, to form or make up, to appoint, to give being to. The constitution is the natural condition of the body or the inherent nature. One can see that the terms constitution and temperament are basically very close relatives. When we think about temperament, we also think it's constitution. But we need to understand temperament is basically a part of the constitution. There's another term, which is again a very important term, which again associated with temperament, is a diathesis. See, diathesis is basically an inborn state that we all are born with, disposing to a disease, group of diseases, or metabolic or structural anomaly. Temperament is a psychological and biological organization peculiar to the individual, including one's character or personality, predispositions which influence the manner of thought and action and general views of life. This is according to Stedman's Medical Dictionary. We have Webster as a non-medical dictionary, which also talks about temperament as a specific and intense, passionate nature and character of an individual. Now we come again back to constitution. Let us now, to be very clear, to understand how a constitution comes up and what is its relationship with what you call temperament. So constitution comprises of two basic things. One is the mental generals and second is the physical generals. Okay. In mental generals, we don't have anything. We have all the what you call emotions, the likes, dislikes. If you remember how Kent has beautifully classified these mental generals, okay, in the first grade, second grade, and third grade. So these mental generals are nothing but the temperament, right? And second part is the personality, which an individual actually acquires as he grows in age, right? From his childhood till his adulthood, whatever transformation he undergoes is the personality. That is in relation to his environment. But temperament is genetically, purely genetic. It has to be, the individual is born with it. And then in the second part of constitution, we all know about the generals, that is the physical generals, and the diathesis. Diathesis, again, I just explained to you, it's basically the inborn quality to acquire certain disease. Okay, that is rheumatic diathesis, hemorrhagic, tubercular, etc. Now let us understand one basic, there's a very thin line between understanding temperament and personality. Of course, as homeopaths, we distinguish this very clearly. But when a lay person talks about a temperament and personality, especially because we need to educate our patients sometimes to tell us about their temperament, so we need to make it very clear what is the difference between temperament and personality. Our temperament takes form according to our genetic material, which has already been told. The temperament is the real me, what I am, what I'm born with, what are my feelings, my emotions. all these things. The question which arises in the mind is how temperament is different from personality then. Personality is the dress one puts on over oneself. It is the overall facade that we portray, the attire and clothes that we wear, how we groom ourselves, the way we talk, sit, etc. That is personality. Okay, so temperament is an innate thing, it's an internal thing. Personality is what we project outside, as simple as that. And this is a very simple example. The personality is what we see, the outer shell of the coconut. The person in the bathroom is the real Mr. X. Bathroom, bedroom, home, or with the near and dear ones, whatever way you take up. That is the real Mr. X or the Mr. or Mrs. X for that matter, and not the one portrayed in the boardroom. Okay, what I'm trying to put into this slide is that in a boardroom, in a meeting, okay, in an environment when we are what you call exposed socially to people, we go with certain facade. You know, I would like to dress up in a particular way. I would like to talk in a particular way, depending upon what profession I have, what status I have in the society. So that is personality, and that, like I told you, it grows as you grow up, and it's in relation to the environment. But that I modify myself. But the temperament is the real me. How does the temperament come into the existence, or how does it project itself? When most of the times when I'm alone, or when I'm very comfortable with the people I know. Oh, okay, it's like my anger, my emotions, everything that is expressed as a temperament. So suppose I go to teach in a class, okay, I just cannot go with a bad mood what I have. So we have so much technical problems now, okay, it shook me for some time, but then I have to continue with it because I have a certain personality. I have to project that. Internally, I must be very nervous, right? So that is the difference between temperament and personality. The innate thing is a temperament which cannot be changed. It's the genetic thing. And so we are all born with the temperament traits. This is our raw material, our own base. But personality is something which can be changed, developed, or enhanced. Yeah. Now, next question is, why do we need to assess temperaments? See, when we take a case, most of you must be having the question, yeah, when we take a case, we go through mental generals, and when we take mental generals, we can prescribe both on the mental generals as well as the physical generals. Then what is the necessity of temperaments? Now, please try to understand, we need to assess temperaments a little differently if I want to be a better or best homeopathic practitioners. I'm sure we all are very good homeopaths, but you know, like any other profession, we need to keep on upgrading ourselves and go to the finicity of homeopathy. Homeopathy is a never-ending science, okay? And each patient, of course, like Dr. Samuel Hahnemann has told you, teaches us something new, and each case we are going to take as a fresh case. So temperaments is one such, I would say it's a simple secret. I mean, if we understand how to take temperaments and incorporate in our materia medica, understand what are temperaments in the materia medica, and then put it in practice, I think we will be in the coming years be the best homeopaths. And we can do a lot of good to our mankind, because this is one medicine, this homeopathic medicine or homeopathic system of medicine, I would rather say, is one system which has enormous what you call benefits, enormous what you call scope in treating so many disorders, right? So why do we need to assess temperaments? Because it's a basic tenet of homeopathy is individualization. We all know that homeopathy treats the patient and not the disease. So there is no universal thumb rule that applies to all patients. We are born with this code, that is the temperament, which cannot be changed and which is the basis of the homeopathic prescription. Hahnemann also has not what you call taught the word temperament in many aspects, maybe directly, but all the aphorisms through, we can see that he has mentioned about temperaments, especially the aphorisms 211, 212, and 213. In aphorism 211, he talks that this goes to such an extent that the disposition of the patient often chiefly determines the selection of the homeopathic remedy, as being a decidedly characteristic symptom which can least of all remain concealed from the accurately observing physician. So what does it mean? That he always had it in mind that there is certain disposition which, when a disease occurs, it's not only at the physical aspect but also at the mental aspect. Aphorism 212, he talks about In our therapeutic agents or the homeopathic medicines that we call, in this regard, it tries to tell us in aphorism 212 that every medicinal substance has the capacity, when proved on healthy human beings, to bring about change in the mind and the body as well. Okay, and that is why we come to know from these aphorisms and the further one that he did what we call give a lot of emphasis on understanding not only the mental generals but also the temperament aspect of it. The third aphorism which I would like to mention regarding temperaments is, we shall therefore never be able to cure conformably to nature, that is to say homeopathically, if we do not in every case of disease, even in such as acute, observe along with other symptoms to those relating to the changes in the state of the mind and disposition. And if we do not select for the patient's relief from among the medicine, that is the disease force, which in addition to the similarity of its symptoms to those of the disease is capable of producing a similar state of the disposition and mind. So it clearly says that verse 213 also says that unless we don't cure the mental disposition along with the physical thing, we cannot claim a complete cure. So these three aphorisms convey that a homeopathic case should include the physical generals, the disposition, the causation, and the mental generals of patient, and he highlights mental generals. Again, I'm reminding you, it is the temperament, and he highlights the importance of taking into account the temperament of the patient to arrive at a prescription. Study of temperaments throws light on the following. It tells us what are we made of, who we really are, why we react as we do, what are our strengths and weaknesses. So Dr. Herbert Roberts, I think all my students are definitely acquainted, especially the third year and the fourth year. In the Principles and Art of Cure by Homeopathy, we have a very nice small topic, though it is on the temperaments that we have. And he has talked about nervous, bilious, sanguineous, and phlegmatic. There are many combinations of these types. Okay, you may come across different authors, especially new authors who are coming up with the study of temperaments. They are trying to put in, or they're trying to combine many temperaments to some extent, which is very useful, because sometimes what happens, we have one temperament and it conjoins with another temperament. What I mean to say is a combination of several basic types of temperament. For example, a patient can be predominantly a nervous temperament person, but he may have some aspect of bilious into him, some aspect of sanguineous or phlegmatic for that matter. So to understand the combination, as we come to know the basic temperaments, we also understand the combination of it. So there are four classical, we'll go by the four classical temperaments, what Dr. Herbert Robert has suggested to us. And we will keep, for the good reading later on, we'll keep the other authors, okay? So the temperaments that I would like to talk today on is the sanguine temperament, the choleric temperament, the melancholic, phlegmatic, and the nervous temperament. I think my audience from now on should be a little more attentive to what we are doing. So I hope I'm clear. Hello. Am I clear? Am I audible? Okay. So basically we have four temperaments: sanguine, choleric, melancholic, phlegmatic, and nervous. So what is sanguine temperament?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, a person with sanguine temperament is an extrovert. Okay, he is a talker. He is optimistic. Can you see this picture? Though it's a form of cartoon, black and white, I love this picture, which I've borrowed from Dr. Parina Zumlanwala. See this person, how happy, gay is there. And all the people, though they're lifting him, are also happy. They're not taking him as a burden. Okay, so that is how you would see a sanguine temperament patient in your clinic. He's an extrovert, a talker, optimistic. What does he do? As soon as he comes to your clinic, he says, "Hi, good morning, doctor. Good afternoon, doctor. I have a patient of eczema, and this person is a little elderly person, somewhere in his 60s, but a typical sanguine temperament." The first thing when he walked in, I was very surprised, and even he does it now. He first says, he'll sit down on his chair and first he'll say, "Doctor, so how are you? First tell me, how are you? Then I'll tell you how I am feeling." So that is how a sanguine temperament patient would even initiate what we call the conversation or a case taking. So the sanguine is a people's person. They are very vivacious, always manage to have fun. They will not be tied down to relationships. They do not, they cannot stick on to one activity, They are master of all trades, maybe, and jack of none maybe, but master of all trades. And hence we are social, and hence they are social butterflies. They live for that particular day. You will never find a danger, nor are they saddled with the baggage of the past. So they say, what happened in the past is gone. Like, today is my day. I'm not going to worry about the future also. Let me enjoy today's day. So this is a sanguine temperament. And of course, see, when we actually start addressing our patients in the more depth, we do understand these temperaments. And sometimes, most of the times, I would say, rather, we all are going to be good homeopaths. I'm talking to the students. We are going to be good homeopaths, but then we always feel that something linked, has to be connected, because for a homeopath, it is not a didactic or a very simple way of just taking a case, receiving a case, and prescribing. We need to be having a very good rapport with our patients. And I think if we understand this term temperament, we can definitely establish a good rapport, which does not only help us to prescribe the right remedy, but it also helps the patient. It helps us, in fact, to understand how much the patient is speaking and why he is not speaking. Okay, so if you're lucky, most of the time we're not going to be lucky. We have a sanguine temperament. It's very easy to get the history. They live for the day. You will never find them worrying about the future. Okay, they're exuberant, and even the anger is very effervescent. Effervescent means very short, easily dispelled. What happens? They may have an argument with you, a heavy argument with you, but after some times, a person with sanguine temperament will not remember it. He'll forget and go and say again hi to you the next day or the next moment. Okay, so that is the sanguine temperament. Let us understand in this way, has weaknesses and its strength. Okay. Now, when I say this, we're not trying to judge a patient. Please remember that. I think no homeopath tries to do it. We don't judge our people. We only try to assess patients, what you call profile. Remedy. You see, there are some remedies when we read, there are various shades in our remedies. When we read them superficially, we come to know. We only think that Pulstilla is a remedy which is very timid. Okay, a very cranky, very soft remedy. A phosphorus is very vivacious. But please try to understand that each remedy of us, just like how our remedy is not made of one particular mycin, it is made up of multiple mycin, but one mycin is predominant. Similarly, you understand our remedy better. Okay, so the weaknesses are vanity and self-complacency. Yeah, when you talk about vanity, what does it mean? Vanity basically means that it is giving yourself a lot of importance. So this people are people's person, okay? Your stars, actors, and all those people, they're basically people's people. People admire them, and when they are with people, they are full of vertical energy and joy. So they have vanity, too much pride in their own self, in their achievements, and luckily they have all these qualities. So naturally they have this quality, and they try to expose it and they enjoy. There's a sense, a feeling of satisfaction with yourself, with whatever you're doing. Okay, they have that satisfaction. What I'm doing is very good. I'm not bothered about your opinion. Looking a bit gaudy, they will not bother about it. I'm happy, that's sufficient. So that is self-complacency. That is the weakness of sanguine temperament. Why we say it's a weakness? Because at times it may not be helpful in the general living of a life. Okay. Sanguine people have inclination to flirtation, okay, jealousy, and envy. Now, these are the weaknesses or the negative points of a sanguine personality. Because they are very emotional people, the good emotion, bad emotions, everything they will show on your face. So when I see a patient of mine with a sanguine temperament, when he's jealous, I will know. He will explain it that way. He will just say, I feel very sad, doctor. My younger sister is so beautiful and fair. I don't like. That's why I never go out with her. That is how they may express in the case. Okay, they have envy too, and also cheerfulness and inordinate love of pleasure. They feel the pleasure should never, what you call, decrease. For more than expected, they want the pleasure. Okay, if they go to a party, it should be a huge party. They will not settle down with some small party. So that is the weakness of a sanguine temperament, because they themselves are people full of life and they want it every time, which is difficult. And that is why we call it as a temperament, because it is inordinate. It is not expected. If you're naturally expecting a party to be good, that is normal. But these people want a little more, that extra thing, what a sanguine temperament is its quality. Now, strengths of sanguine. We already have spoken about it. It is the sanguine is an extrovert. He readily makes friendships with other people, is very communicative, loquacious, and easily mingles with strangers. He's friendly in speech and behavior and can pleasantly entertain his fellow men by interesting narratives and witticisms. Okay, like you can say he's a jan of a party. There's a party or there's a function at home, outside, in office, and the moment a sanguine temperament comes, the whole party lights up and everybody want to be around him and listen to him. He makes the whole atmosphere very, very lively. Okay. Now, yeah, I'm talking a very general aspect, but we do have beautiful rubrics which we need to associate. I've given only few rubrics. We are coming up with more rubrics, and I believe that once you sit in your clinic and when you start repertorizing the cases and going through rubrics, we will be coming through more things. The most important ones, which I found useful in my practice, I've tried to put it down here. So rubrics for sanguine temperament are basically after effects of excitement, emotional. Loquacity is one of the rubrics which is very important. Vivacious, cheerful, company desire for theorizing, forgetful, careless, thoughts, that is flow of rush, that is the sub-rubric flow of rush, what we have. And the remedies, there are many remedies, of course, in a huge remedy of 3,200 remedies, but prominently which come to our mind the moment we think of a sanguine temperament are the ferrum people. Okay, all the ferment, the ferrum fall, the ferment, though they are anemic and all those things, but if you see their overall attitude, they're full of, it's a false plethora, it's called, as we remember. Do you remember ferrum when you're reading ferrum? There's something called false plethora, false, what you call sanguinity. That is at the appearance level. But internally, though these people are anemic, they have a lot of a sanguine temperament, which shows as flushing out. Okay, and of course, who can forget phosphorus when we talk about sanguine temperament? Okay, if you read thoroughly, especially Coulter, phosphorus in our Kent and so many other things, we do phosphorus as a very beautiful remedy. Okay, I would say beautiful remedy, not a beautiful remedy. The physical aspect of beautiful, the beautiful who are effervescent. That is why the element phosphorus is always kept under kerosene, because if it's exposed to air, it just effervesces. Okay, so phosphorus people are that way. The moment they come in an environment, the whole environment becomes very nice. They're very nice people. Then you have the lacacis, who has a lot of negative, or you can say weaknesses of a sanguine temperament in them. We have the loquacity in lacacis, we have the envy, the jealousy, isn't it? All this come in the sanguine, the negative aspects of I think we all should go through Farrington and read Coffea. He has described it beautiful. I would like to quote an example here. I have a case, a small child, maybe he's about 11 or 12 years old now. When he came to me, he was 6 years old. I remember when I defined his case for the first time, I had not called him as Coffea. I thought he was phosphorus, but he was a Coffea with one very important rubric. This child, though was only 6 years old, would suffer from insomnia with many things. Now, many things means it's not only because of exams. Well, if a child has exam and if he's a very conscientious child, we can understand that he has exams and he's nervous and that's why he's not able to sleep. But this child, even if he has to go to a class picnic, he would not sleep the whole night. Okay, he'll be excited, he'll be trying to wake up his mama, did you pack this, did you pack that? You know, that sort of person. So Coffea is one such sanguine temperament which is a full-blown sanguine temperament, wherein the Coffea patient will not sleep, not only because will have insomnia, not only because he is what you call sad or feeling bad about certain things, overthinking, but also when he's excited. So Coffea is a remedy for excitement as well as for bad effects of bad things, right? So these would predominantly indicate the sanguine temperament. We come to the next one, that is the choleric temperament. So we are going to talk about 4 temperaments. I just go revise it. We are going to talk about, first of all, the sanguine temperament, which we already spoken. And now the next one is the choleric. Okay. The choleric temperament person is basically an extrovert, again, a doer, and an optimistic. I will give you a small snapshot at the end, again differentiating. Because when you see a choleric, you may again start relating it with the, what you call, friendliness of a sanguine temperament. But let us understand how choleric temperament has a different extroversion here. Okay, so basically remember these three keywords. The choleric temperament is basically an extrovert, a doer, and an optimistic. Persons with a choleric temperament conjure up an image of authoritativeness. They're dominating, resourceful, and very confident beings. They are adventurous, very persuasive, confident, and they're powerful people. They are good decision makers. They are born leaders, you can say. Not like the sanguine temperament. Sanguine temperaments cannot be leaders every time because they always want to have fun. Okay? A choleric temperament has a lot of brain thinking material in his temperament. Okay? He likes to think, understand things, and carry on the things. So they are good decision makers. They're born leaders as they're innately aggressive. That is important. Okay? A sanguine temperament will remember something and forget about it. But these people don't forget easily. The choleric people. Okay? So what are the weaknesses of choleric? Like I said, every temperament, we are going to understand the weaknesses and strengths. Okay? So the weakness of choleric person is basically he has a superiority complex. Okay? Because he's an all know and all do person. He does it also. It's not that he just speaks. Sanguine person may say many things, may not do everything. But a choleric person will say and also do it. Okay, so he has superiority complex. He has anger, deceit, disguise, and hypocrisy. So they can be a typical political leaders, I would say, not the leaders in the real sense, because I think it's a known fact that all politicians have to have some sort of deceit, some disguise, some hypocrisy, else they cannot survive in their field, you know. That is how politics all over the world runs. And lack of sympathy. That is a little odd thing which the choleric has, and the sanguine will never have it. The sanguine has sympathy. They may try to at least talk to you and be okay with you. Fine? Excuse me. So we have the weakness of choleric individual, superiority complex, the anger, deceit, disguise, and hypocrisy, and lack of sympathy. The strengths of choleric person. The choleric temperament is very successful in his professional work, be they doctors, politicians, engineers, MBA graduates especially. Being of an active temperament, they always have continual inclination to activity and occupation. Now, this choleric, if you see a student in your class, or if you see your colleague, or if you see a patient who continually wants to update himself, do very good in his occupation or in his career, it has to be predominantly choleric. Okay, he cannot be without work, and he works quickly and diligently. It's not that he only plans and daydreams. He executes it. That's what I want to press upon. In his enterprises or in his endeavors, he is very persevering and full of courage in spite of obstacles. Obstacles do not put him back. That is why he's a leader. Okay. Without hesitation, you can place a choleric person at a very difficult post, and everything can be entrusted to him. In his speech, the choleric is brief and definite. He abhors useless repetitions. Okay, he needs direct, what you call, orders. He doesn't like. I have one of this case again. I don't know. I'll not be able to present all the cases properly, but I will just like to talk as and when I have this what you call temperaments. He's an ex-army officer. Okay, and this person has been into choleric, this thing, what you call temperament, and I had given him this remedy of choleric this thing. I will tell you the case later on. And he responded so well because he used to always say he himself has been in a prominent position, but without hesitation, he cannot, he can be placed in any difficult situations, whether be at the border or at his, what you call this, they call it as a field, okay, working in the field, or again back in his office. Now, since he's retired, he works in office. So he'll take out any, what you call, task, provided he doesn't remain lazy and infirm, okay. So this brevity, this positiveness, firmness in speech and appearances give him a great deal of authority. All the authoritarian figures, the political leaders, especially when are what you call come into the choleric constitution, and especially authoritative figures in educational works. You know, people who are into, especially good teachers, professors, not only good teachers, all teachers. I would say all teachers are good. Teachers, professors, assistant professors. You take all this category. Okay, they come in the choleric. Most of them. I would not like to generalize the whole thing because they have positiveness, firmness, and appearances. Right. So the rubrics that we would like to take for choleric temperaments, basically after effects of anger, vexation, the patient is industrious, censorious, contradiction intolerant of, haughty, malicious, destructive, impatient, capriciousness, dictatorial, quarrelsome, thoughts less abundant, clearness of mind. And the remedies that come to mind for choleric temperament are Lyco, Veratrum, Nux vomica, Bryonium. Okay, all these temperaments are a bit hyper. If you take a Lyco is a very soft individual, but at the same time, okay, he's a good leader at sometimes he's not a very good leader, in the sense he becomes very, what you call, he has a lot of anticipatory anxiety, but he can, once he takes a decision, he will keep it up. Okay, like we have the example in Boric where it is said that a lawyer will, before going and appealing for his case the next morning, he'll be in full tantrums. Okay, but the moment he goes and starts speaking about his case, he'll do it beautifully. Lyco, a choleric presence himself. We have the Veratrum alb. The Veratrum alb are more like the dictator type of people, you know. They're very harsh, they are very dictatorial, quarrelsome, destructive, malicious is a Veratrum album remedy. Though it's given for cholera and other things, a very well-proved remedy, medica. But if you see the temperament, it is a highly choleric temperament. Okay. Of course, Nux vomica, a beautiful example which I keep on giving to all my students. If you have a Nux vom patient, of course, Boric and your other medicals also define them as very hyper and what you call histrionic patient, you know, when they try to talk and they behave in a very irritable manner, very highly irritable, Bryonia and Nux. But Nux, for that matter, suppose he's let's I have an example of a banker. I have a patient who is the banker. So his wife says the moment he enters his home, I try to see that I know he's going to come at 6:30. At 6, because if he's walking through the doorway and if something comes in this way, for example, okay, but they are leaders. In his office, he is a successful person, a very good businessman, maybe whatever. Then again, we have the Bryonia. Bryonia also has irritability. Bryonia irritability, we also see not to the mental aspect, but the physical aspect also. In case of pleurisy and bronchitis, you know, the type of irritation a Bryonia patient has, the type of headache a Bryonia patient has. So Bryonia patients are a kind of choleric, what you call temperament, and are having majority of choleric temperament. They may have other minor, what you call minor temperaments, but this is the predominant. Now we come to one of the very important melancholic temperament, okay? Because I think identifying sanguine and what you call your choleric temperament becomes a little easier. We may not find directly many cases unless we probe into them. But melancholic temperament, I think most of the homeopaths, even in the initial days of practice, we get acquainted with them. Okay? Because majority of them are melancholic. Okay? Basically, melancholic are introverts, they are thinkers, and they are pessimists. Okay? So, melancholic are thinkers, they are people of serious purpose. They are eager to order an organization. Okay, even people who are having sand, they like organizing, but they will not do it. Okay, they are very creative people. The melancholic people are very creative and sensuous. They are in their work. So you take all the writers, the artists, musicians. For example, Michelangelo is a very what you call sculptor. A human being makes such beautiful statues. So that is a melancholic temperament. They will go to the end of their creativity, and they're very conscientious, fastidious. They will not settle down with normal things. but they are inexpressive. We always say, you are like an artist, you are philosophical, you are like an artist. They're very inexpressive people, reserved, okay? And this person with melancholic temperament finds it difficult to form new acquaintances. They cannot make new friends, and they speak very among strangers, okay? Their talent is, and the pride of the melancholic has this very peculiar side. He does not seek honor or recognition. On the contrary, he loathes to appear in public and to be praised. The students or the homeopathic students also must have seen the classes. Some of their classmates are what we call
Ma'am, you can continue, ma'am. Ma'am, can
you hear me now?
yes, ma'am. Now it's audible, ma'am.
Yeah. The previous slide, was it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
No problem, right? Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So I want the screen share, Aniket. Screen share. Screen share. How do we do it? Okay. So we were talking about third temperament, that is the melancholic temperament. So there is a lot of inexpressiveness. He's a reserved individual. He finds it difficult to form new friends or new acquaintances and speaks very little among strangers. Okay, his work speaks for himself. That's a different thing. But when it has to, in a social setting, he's a very weak person. He cannot make friends easily. Suppose he goes to a party, a person with melancholic temperament goes to a party. He will not be the first person to go and say hello to somebody. Yes, somebody comes and talks to him, he will speak back. Okay, that is because of his reserved nature. And his talent is usually underutilized because you see, in today's world, whatever talent you need to expose yourself, you need to market yourself. And that is a big point of a melancholic person. He cannot market himself, okay? Because he cannot be expressive. He cannot show off. He likes to be a back person. Many of the students I'm talking about, friends you must have seen, when we have a functional college, there are some people who are on the stage with the mic and making the whole show run smoothly, and they're trying to bring in people. There are some people at the backstage. Okay, they may be doing a better work than the person who is with the mic. Okay, but they don't like to come in the front. They are camera shy, maybe they don't want to show themselves on the stage or to get exposed to people. So that is a melancholic character. Okay, so the pride of the melancholic has this very peculiar side. It does not seek honor recognition. They don't like, it's okay if I don't get the honor. I'm doing my work, I'm happy. A typical artist, artists are such people, writers are such people, poets are such people. Okay, they are very happy in their own world. So on the contrary, he's loath to appear in public and to be praised. So what are the weaknesses of melancholic? Unforgiving nature and lack of assertiveness. He can hardly forgive offenses. First of all, in his work, he doesn't make any mistakes, and he cannot take offenses of others also. If somebody has made some offense, the first offense he ignores quite easily. But once and again, somebody is offending him, they penetrate deeply into his soul, and he can hardly be forgotten. For years together, you may have a patient, melancholic temperament sitting in front of you. He can narrate you in childhood. I have a patient of dermatitis, allergic dermatitis. This lady who is in her 40s now, she can so accurately tell me how bad she had felt when her mother had not cooked her breakfast on a particular day when she was not well. In childhood. We have certain instances, but we tend to forget it. Okay. So this is how a melancholic person will remember each and every aspect, okay, of what has gone wrong. They can't forget easily. Strong aversion easily takes root in his heart against person from whom he has suffered. If somebody has troubled them, they will never forgive them, okay, or forget them. In fact, maybe they will forgive but not forget, or in whom he finds this or that fault. So there is some pathological fastidiousness. Now, what is fastidiousness and pathological fastidiousness? Pathological fastidiousness is going overboard. Okay, this person is of our melancholic temperament is vehemently exasperated and provoked by disorder or injustice. The cause of his exasperation is often justifiable, but rarely to the degree certain fastidious. I would not like my room to be dirty, my clothes to be disordered, but maybe if I'm a mother, I will not scold the kids. But this person with melancholic temperament will go to the end and have his whole thing removed out and think it's the biggest mistake somebody has done by being so disorganized. Okay, so naturally, many times you see people who are artists, who are poets, painters, everybody. They like to have their own space. Okay, they don't like spaces. I'm talking also the physical space, you know, their office or the things where they paint. They would not like anybody to enter into it because they like that type of fastidiousness. It may sound messy to me, but for them it is how it should be. Okay. Now, what are strengths of the melancholic temperament? So the melancholic temperament individual is willing to make great sacrifices for his neighbor and is strong and unshakable in the battle for ideals. Now, a very idealistic person. Okay, they are good at decisions and have a strong sense of responsibility. They adhere to the rules and they need very little control over the lives and behaviors of others. Okay, so they say whether you want to cheat, you want to do corruption, it's your problem. But I will not do that. I will not do it. Okay, the most beautiful strength of this melancholic temperament is they are very good people, good human beings, having a very good interpersonation. They feel from the heart. You know, all the artists feel from the heart. Okay, and they make great sacrifices. Sometimes we don't even come to know that sacrifice so much for us. They're strong and unshakable in the battle for ideals. Okay, idea when we talk about battle for ideals is not necessarily for themselves. It also could be for the neighbors. Okay, you may have one person in a colony. Okay, if something is going wrong in the neighborhood, he will take a stand and he will talk it out. Though he's a melancholic person who does not like to mingle much, who does not like to come in front, but when it comes to ideas, he will put up his voice. So they are good at decisions and have a strong sense of responsibility. They adhere to the rules. Okay, they will not say ki aaj chalta hai, kal se mask pehnunga. No. Okay, or I forgot the mask at home. Rules are rules. Okay. The strengths of melancholic person again is often a great benefactor to his fellow men. Okay, people who work under melancholic temperament are very happy people. I mean, the employees I'm talking about. If he's an employer, the employees are very happy people because he's a great benefactor. He's a great person with all these people around him. He also has a spiritual aspect about in melancholic temperament. He guides others to God. He's a good counselor. He listens to people. He's very prudent and wise. Not just wise, prudent. Prudent is a little better than wise, where they can actually entrust you with good ideas. Okay, trustworthy and well-meaning superior. He has great sympathy with his fellow men and a keen desire to help them. It's not like a sanguine person. Sanguine person is very happy-go-lucky. He says, "Arey, there are those who don't worry." But next moment he finds another those he may go away. Okay, but not a melancholic temperament. If he's committed to you as a friend, okay, or in any relationship that matter, he will keep it up. The rubrics of melancholic temperament are basically after effects of grief, conscientious about trial, sentimental, fastidious, brooding, industrious, company aversion to, mildness, sympathetic, hypochondriasis, suicidal tendencies, thoughts, and thoughtful. Okay, thoughtful is the subrubric. So we have remedies like natrium. I think by now most of them would have guessed it. We have the ignatia and the aurum-met. Okay, and of course natrium is so widely read by us because it's a very good polycrest remedy, and aurum-met also. So aurum-met temperament is, I would give almost 6 marks out of 6 or 7 marks out of 10 for aurum-met personality as a melancholic temperament. Okay, because the aurum-met people are basically gold-headed cane patient, all that we didn't get. Basically, they are people who have a very good stand in their own field. They will be a very good professional, they're good businessmen, but a lot of undercurrent is going through them. You know, they have a lot of suicidal tendency. If there is some other patient, I may see signs of depression and I would identify it. But the automatic patient is not that way. One fine day he will get up, shoot himself or hang himself. And you wonder, a person who has such a beautiful family, who has such a good business, who has everything, how did he commit suicide? So there's a lot of undercurrents going in automatic. I think the most important book, automatic, is so beautifully described in Kent and also in Catherine Colton, the undercurrents and how the melancholic temperament emerges in this patient. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Now we come to the last temperament, the phlegmatic temperament. I think by looking at the picture, everybody's what you call antenna must be up for calcaria carb. Yes, it is a phlegmatic temperament. And these people are basically introvert. Okay. They're not reserved, they're introverts. They like to be in their own happy world. Okay. But I just talked about this temperament where I talked about the phlegmatic temperament where I just talked about the melancholic temperament where I said these people are reserved, but a phlegmatic individual is basically very what you call introvert. He is not reserved. In the sense, when you're introvert, you're happy with your own world, don't come and disturb me. A reserved person, you can still go and approach and he'll express his ideas. So that is the difference between both these temperaments. And then a phlegmatic temperament person is a watcher. He will just keep on watching. He will not do anything. If you're good in sports, he will admire you, but I will not take a step. Or if you are having a very good persona, a good personality, physically I'm talking about, and you exercise a lot, he will appreciate from far, but he will not take the steps to go and exercise and become like that. Okay, so that is a phlegmatic temperament. And then we have, they're very pessimist. Okay, this cannot be done by me. That is how a phlegmatic temperament person reveals himself. So phlegmatic temperaments are slow-paced, stubborn people. This temperament goes through life doing as little as possible, quietly and expending little energy. Only sleep can regenerate a phlegmatic. Only they get proper sleep, they are fresh next day. Okay, they're the ones who are not ruffled by anything. Let there be a bomb going on in the neighborhood, I'm not bothered as long as I am safe. Okay, they don't cause any trouble and they don't involve in trouble. They easily get along with others and they don't have any enemies. Their main motto is be happy. You be happy, I be happy. Okay, so they don't have any enemies because if somebody scolds them also, they will not react. They will say, okay, bol de chala gaya. Okay, they are not the people who will what you call make any animosities with people. Okay, they only want just leave me alone, don't trouble me, and I will not trouble you. So weakness of phlegmatic temperament, they are very much inclined to ease, to eating and drinking. Is lazy and neglects all the duties. They have no ambitions, the temperament people. They does not aspire any lofty ambitions. I'm okay working as a clerk. See, most of the patients who come to you, if you find they have a long time in a clerical job, okay, then you know it's a little bit phlegmatic temperament because they're happy. They say, I don't want more, doctor. I don't want to get you will find many patients. So I've got a number of patients who says, I don't want to get transferred. I want to stay in Belgaum only because Belgaum is a cool, nice place. The reason being that if I get a transfer, I will get a due promotion with it. But I don't want the promotion. I'm happy to be a clerk. I want to settle down in Belgaum. Okay, so that is how phlegmatic weakness presents itself. He has no ambition and does not aspire to do lofty things if he has to work for it. He has an unwillingness to become involved. They don't want to be involved. They don't want to be pulled unnecessarily into some work. Wherever work is, if they're getting a party and if they don't have to work for the party, they're happy to go to the party. Just eat, relax, and come back. Okay, they tend to be observer rather than a participant. They have certain indecisiveness, the tendency to procrastinate. I'll not do it today, tomorrow I will do it. And very difficult to motivate such people, He might give up halfway through a project if he feels there's too much effort involved. I can't do it, just give it up. Okay. I have a child, he is basically a calcaria patient, comes for tonsillitis. I remember this particular phlegmatic temperament, which I projected in one this thing. He will tell his teacher, abhi bus ho gaya, I'm what you call, I'm tired now, I will not write it down. Means you generally don't do that to a teacher. Of course, nowadays kids do that, but at least we would have never dreamt. And even most of kids will not do it to a teacher. To a mother, they may do it. I'm tired, I will not do the homework. But not to a teacher. So this guy will different. The mother was telling me in a very shocked state, he talks to his teacher that way. He says, see, ab bus ho gaya, maine aadha page likh diya, abhi mujhse nahi hoga. Okay, and just closes the book and sits in the class. So that is how phlegmatic temperament person is. Now, what are strengths of phlegmatic temperament? Okay, just as a weakness, we have the strengths again. The phlegmatic works slowly but perseverely if his work does not require much thinking. If this does not require much thinking, I will do the work. They are very good workers at the clerical level. I mean, the routine work, get up, come in the morning, open the file, write down the addresses. So that type of work they would prefer. They are not easily exasperated either by offenses. Okay, if somebody scolds them, keeps them, "Arey, you motu, you're so fat," so because they're generally of a very what you call fat build, so they will not mind. They will just laugh it out. Or by failures or sufferings. If, okay, I didn't do well in my exam, doesn't matter. Next exam I will do. Okay, they're the types of people. He remains composed, thoughtful, deliberate, and has a cold, sober, and practical judgment. They have no intense passions and does not demand much of life. Nothing ruffles their feathers. Oh, that's a very nice way of putting it up. So the rubrics of phlegmatic temperament are after effects of mental work, dullness, sluggishness, confidence want of, childish, irresolute, intolerant, aversion to work, mildness, timidity, ideas deficiency of. Okay. So I would like to remind you again this point. You may get many more rubrics. Please keep on adding it to your what you call cases when you're working upon it. This is some of the most important and the red line what you call rubrics that I found in my vertical practice. And so remedies like calcarea carb, baryta carb, pulsatilla predominantly are of phlegmatic temperament. Okay, even the carbon remedies, carbo-veg, carbo-animalis. Okay, all these remedies have a very slow, a typical timidity, deficiency of things. For example, you take even carbo-veg, though we prescribe it mainly most of times in a lot of GI disorders, the whole GI system is in such a sluggish manner. Okay, the way the patient thinks also is very sluggish. Right? Calcarea carb, we are very well aware. Baryta carb, of course, they do have some pathological deficiencies in them. But the baryta carb personality, or the sorry, not the personality, the temperament is again a very phlegmatic temperament. They need to be pushed and pushed and pushed, okay, to do certain, even a small irregular routine work. Then we have the next or last temperament, what we call as the nervous temperament. Okay. The nervous temperament is an individual who is an introvert, he is anxious and he is pessimistic. Okay. So persons with this type of temperament may be undisciplined and forgetful. They take a lot of undue stress. As they lack confidence, they are always on the edge and hyper, bordering on depression. They are impatient and hurried. They are indecisive, hesitant, timid and messy. Such people can never make up their minds and the decisions can be changed easily. So the nervous temperament people have the other traits which are basically haphazard, inconsistent and unpredictable. Why all this? Because they're so nervous. They take undue stress. Okay, they cannot take even normal things lightly. They're always on the border. Sorry. And then we have this weakness of nervous temperament. So we have this tremendous anxiety. In fact, I feel a nervous temperament has a lot of weaknesses than the strengths. Okay, so a person with nervous temperament has tremendous anxiety, which lowers down their potential because they're so good in their work. But if they have this because of the nervous temperament, they're not able to perform to the full capacity. Okay, very pessimistic in their approach. So before they start a work, it will not happen. Okay, they can never think that something good is going to happen in their life. They always start the pessimism. Out of the negative vibes, they turn extremely conscious towards their problem. So once they get a chatka, once they get a what you call back stabbing or something of that sort, they'll be very cautious the next time. Extremely cautious, more than required. Excessively obsessed with health and seem to unnecessarily dwell on it. You'll get plenty of such cases. You have the urgent nitric acid, the gelsemium, the Cali-Ars, okay? All these remedies have a lot of nervous temperament in them, predominantly what I mean to say. And that is how we can come to the core of their personality, of their constitution, when we understand these final traits of the temperaments. What are the weaknesses of nervous temperament? They're not very good decision makers because they're always hyper, they're haphazard, and in the nervousness, they don't know what they're doing. And so they're never good decision makers and can be easily swayed from the resolution by authority people. Suppose the person, especially if the person is choleric, boss if he has, and if this person is nervous temperament, it's a gone case. This person will have the hell of a life because they cannot, the moment the boss tells this is right, even if it is wrong, he will agree upon it, not by his brain, but by his heart. Okay, cannot take any changes in life very easily. They need to have a very routine life. They need to plan well, otherwise they get nervous. Okay, a situation like that will disturb the person. Very unpredictable. They're not sure of themselves as to go to east or west. They are basically crowd followers, but in that also again they're confused. Should I do this or should I do that? So this is how a person of nervous temperament presents himself. The strengths also are there, of course. So let us look at some of the positive points which nervous temperament people have. They're basically punctual with appointments. Okay, because they're so nervous. Okay, before an appointment, you will see many such cases. They come in a waiting. We have an appointment at 10:30, but they'll be there at sharp 9:45 or 10. Okay, and 2 times they will pop a message on your WhatsApp. Doctor, I'm waiting outside, but my appointment is 10:30. Take me 10:30. I just wanted to inform you I've come. Okay, and so that is how a nervous temperament patient will present to you. Always well prepared before a presentation. If you see the file of a nervous temperament, they're so well neatly laid, step by step, date by date, they have arranged their file and brought to you. So that the last moment there should not be any. I'm extremely sorry for this cold. Always well prepared before a presentation. Okay. They are very alert while approaching any problem. If they are encouraged, they would make actually good speakers, but because they are so meticulous, so naturally they can be very good speakers actually, because they have got all their material in place at the right time. But they need to be encouraged because nervous temperament, they don't bring out the whole potential. So the rubrics of nervous temperament is basically anticipation, confidence, want of self, confusion of mind, startle, hurry, impatient, hypochondriasis, fears, timidity, restlessness. And of course, remedies like argentocatricum, gelsemium, arsenic album stand for the nervous temperament. So rubrics applicable to more than one temperament. As it is obvious, some rubrics overlap in more than one temperament. Thus, the projection of the symptom may be the same in different temperaments, okay? But the reason behind it may vary. For example, if this restlessness is common to all temperament types, but the reason behind the restlessness is different in each of the remedy or in each of the temperament. So we realize that the sanguine restlessness stems from an enthusiasm to do more and new things, okay? So they're restless. I want to do this, I want to do something nice. Okay, and something which is very what you call bright. But the nervous restlessness stems from a lack of confidence and fear. The nervous person will be very cautious. Okay, so the restlessness occurs because of that. He's restless because he's not able to go on with his work as planned. Another example would be the rubric industrious. A choleric industrious emanates from getting work done through others. Okay, whereas a melancholic industrious is self-imposed. When a patient is choleric, he's a leader. He's very what we call industrious. If he starts a task, he has to complete it, but not necessarily he will complete it. Okay, he will expect his what we call. He'll be a very good, a very authoritative person, a very imposing employer rather, and see that the work is done by the end of the day, come what may. The work goes here and there, but he's not bothered about it. It has to be completed. Okay, whereas a melancholic, if he finds that some of his people, maybe he will be having some phlegmatic and what you call people in his company. So what would he do? He's also industrious. He has to complete the task, but somebody else is not doing it. I will do it by myself. Okay, so that is a melancholic industriousness. That is a very good example Kent has given in Arsenic album. He says when he enters a room, if the portrait is tilted a bit, okay, what the Arsenic album patient does, he calls out his wife or kids and tells him, please correct it. And then say, we'll do it later on, leave it as it is. He will not be happy. He will climb up the stool, correct it, and keep it. So till he corrects it, he's not happy. So once he starts a task, he has to complete it. That is a melancholic temperament. In a industrious, the term industrious is melancholic temperament, and in a melancholic patient, being an introvert would mean being reserved. Okay, that I have already explained to you. In a phlegmatic patient, it is out of timidity. Okay, here he is reserved. Melancholic person is confident, but he's reserved. He doesn't like to mingle with people. He's not an introvert. Whereas phlegmatic patient is introvert, out of timidity. If you have a common situation and 10 persons around, everybody's expression and reaction would definitely what will differ because of the temperament types. So in short, I hope you all are with me. Sanguine is the one who talks. Okay, you can click this shot. Sanguine is the one who talks. Choleric is the one who is more action-oriented. Melancholic is the one who ponders. Phlegmatic is the one who just watches the scene. Nervous is the one who, looking at the scene, gets agitated and tensed. Okay, so these are small snippets about the whole temperamental personalities. So by now, I think at least a little bit we are understanding how temperaments are going to be so useful in our day-to-day practice also, whether it's acute case or chronic case. The advantages of using temperaments are many. Temperaments can be used as a filter to arrive at the final prescription. I don't say we prescribe. See, homeopathic case taking and prescription is a laborious task, okay? Right from the time the patient enters till he leaves your clinic, and after he leaves the clinic also the homeopath's work. If for a normal physician, an allopathic physician, once the patient goes out of his chamber, his work is done. But not for an homeopath, not for you and me, okay? Even when the patient goes out, we have to go back to a case, retrospectively examine what else we could have asked in the interview, what are we going to do, isn't it? So this temperaments help us, because when you're writing it down, I will not write down the patient walked in with a hunch, he walked with a cheerful smile, or he walked with a very what you call dull pace. I will not note it down, but I have registered in my mind. So when I study the case back after the patient goes away, before his next prescription, I sort of filter my prescription with this temperament. Okay, so by incorporating temperaments in your case taking, you can understand the patient better and thus write at his wavelength and make him open up to you more easily. So again, keywords, a sanguine is basically, see, sanguine and choleric both are extroverts, okay? But an extrovert, the sanguine is a talker. He'll talk big things. He'll make you very happy as if he's going to do your whole work now, okay? He puts you high, but he may not till the end. Till he finds another job, he will leave you and go with another friend, okay? Whereas a choleric is a doer, he sticks to you. Okay, now I've taken up this class, I will do it. Okay, both are optimists, the sanguine and the choleric. Now coming to the melancholic, phlegmatic, and nervous, all these three individuals are introverts. Okay, but a melancholic is a thinker, a phlegmatic is a watcher, and a nervous patient is very anxious. Okay, and all three are pessimists. Okay. So of course, we are not going to judge our patients, but it's going to help us in understanding. If my patient comes in the category of pessimist, I know I'm going to deal somebody with melancholic, phlegmatic, or nervous, and then I'll go on assessing my vertical temperaments. So advanced temperament study again, the management of each individual case is thus tailor-made to suit the patient concerned. Hence, you give measured, detailed instructions. This is very important. Now, this slide I want you all to remember. Why, again, temperaments personally as a physician is going to be helpful is because you can give detailed instructions to the nervous temperament and know fully that any instruction given to phlegmatic, it will be flouted. He will not follow it. A nervous temperament will follow each and everything, because you may get call again from a patient when he reaches home. Doctor, you have given me 4 globules. You said morning, afternoon, evening. When do I take it? You have told me also you should take it half an hour before breakfast. What about half an hour after breakfast? What do I do? Okay. And suppose if 2 fall, 1 or 2 extra globules fall, what should I do? So that is a nervous temperament. So I know very well when I'm taking my case, if this is a nervous temperament, I take an extra what we call care to give him the full instruction. Because one thing I know, he's going to follow it properly, and one thing he'll be confused if I give him half information. Okay. And choleric is again a very different person. You know, they are the very authority people, the army people, and all those things. You have to give them very clear-cut instructions and tell them how a medicines act, how, when is the time to be taken. All those things have to be explained very well. So if I know I have a choleric patient, I need to be extra on that particular day. I should be extra. If I'm going to have a choleric patient, I should be extra clever, or I should be extra energetic and explain to him to his satisfaction. Okay, so this all will ensure success in your practice. So advantage of the Materia Medica is made easy to, for students I'm talking about. Once you understand temperament, the Materia Medica becomes very easy to grasp, because like I told you, every temperament has all the rubrics. But industriousness may be there, restlessness may be there, irritability must be there. Okay, but if you understand temperament, you can understand what type of irritability, why this patient is behaving this particular way, what is the innate thing which is triggering it off. Okay, so the Materia Medica is very easy to grasp, as the study helps differentiate one remedy from the other effortlessly. The understanding of each remedy given in a particular rubric is also made easy or lucid. Okay, once you understand the remedy, so if you understand temperament, it becomes easy for you to prescribe. You avoid becoming myopic in your practice. Just because I see somebody crying, I will not jump to a conclusion it is pulsatilla. Okay, okay, pulsatilla is a melancholic, so is also some other remedy. So maybe if I know the temperament well, I can understand. Okay, so this study will widen your horizons in terms of letting you consider many potential remedies, which has been difficult to entertain your thought process in the past. Yeah. So I hope now we as homeopaths. So very, very important questions. I hope many of you type me in the chat box. I'm not, I don't have the chat box with me. Of course, my organizers will definitely let me know. I would like many of you to answer this question. Which temperament will make a best homeopath? Okay, as a homeopath, what temperament I'm supposed to be? Okay, any takers for that? So the homeopathy is expected to be all four temperaments, okay, not the fifth one. I'll tell you why. Homeopath is expected to be phlegmatic in receiving the case, okay. He should be very considerate, kind, understanding when he's receiving a case, a homeopath, okay. He should be sanguine in his approach to the patient. He will be very positive, very bubbly whenever he's approaching the patient, when he's with the patient, trying to gather all the information, and even later during the course of treatment. You know, a sick patient has walked into your clinic, you know, you cannot afford to be melancholic in front of the patient, okay. You should not be, right? Because half his disease is going to cure by your approach, isn't it? So the approach has to be very sanguine when you take a patient. Melancholic in analyzing it, because a melancholic person thinks very deeply. So naturally, when I'm analyzing my case in my own office later on, after the patient has gone, or even when the patient is in front of me and I'm studying his case, I need to analyze it in a very melancholic way, okay, in a very depth, in very deep understanding, deep thinking, okay, not just jump to conclusion, right? Choleric. Choleric is the final prescription. Choleric is the authority one. You know, I told you. A person like what you call it. There's so many leaders. There's so many political leaders. Okay, so they are choleric in temperament. They will. That is how a choleric person should be. They don't falter. Okay, they take very strong decisions. So choleric is the final prescription, and at no stage a homeopath should be nervous. Never. He should never be nervous. So the bibliography we can send to you later on. Please write to us. It's too difficult to read. They're small handwriting. And thank you one and all. With all the glitches we had in this technical today, I hope you all could catch up at least some points of temperaments, which is a very important topic in your case, taking prescription as well as studying your matrimonial. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, as a moderator, there's one question for you. Just help us out to know about one of the participants has come forward with it.
Yeah.
In an infant, how the temperament can be distinguished? I repeat, in an infant, how the temperament can be distinguished?
Yeah. I think very small clues can help us. For example, infant is again a toddler, smaller than even a child, isn't it? You can say from the age group of 0 to 1 year, 2 years, that's 1 year in fact. So we do have many cases of dentition coming at the age of 9 months. And many a times we do understand the temperament, okay? The way the mother is holding the child, okay? It's a phlegmatic temperature. The child is all nicely wrapped up in the dupties they get, okay? And the child is sleeping peacefully and calmly, okay? And you know this is what you call, you just try to touch his cheek, it will just give a 2 seconds squib, again go back to sleep. So that is a phlegmatic temperature. They don't mind what you're doing to them unless you're actually pinching them, okay? If it has been a nervous temperament, even if it's the infant, okay, and you're supposed to be, for example, chamomile we give many patients, and dentition period is a period where they manifest the temperaments properly. And that is one of the important milestones in any individual's life, of course, right from, it starts from dentition. So how a chamomile baby or infant would react? Keeps on howling, he's not sitting in the mother's arms, he wants to go to his father, then come back to his mother. So this could be, again, a nervous temperament. The child is nervous, even with slight sound around him, the environmental things make impact. Okay, you have the phlegmatic child. Okay, the child is just looking at you intently. Sometimes you wonder, such a small baby looking at me, you felt very cute. Okay, so that intent look will be there. You got it. So I think by the mind aspect may not be so well developed, because we are not talking directly to an infant, but by the other composures of the individual, at least some points we can make out, okay, what temperament the child has. And I think in pediatric patients, it helps us maximum. I'm not talking only about infants, but beyond that, pediatric patients, I enjoy my pediatric cases because, and I've started enjoying it more after being in acquaintance with Dr. Parinda Zamranwala, who gives temperament such a beautiful twist while understanding and looking at the patient. Okay, so I hope I've answered the question.
Yes, ma'am, you very rightly put it across. I agree with you. As an infant, from you say till the baby completes 1 year, what we say as infant, what you mentioned, it's very difficult for us to gauge the temperament as long as we are only with theoretical knowledge. The more we spend our time in practice, I think that helps us out. And the other thing very important I feel is we should develop these observation skills, these will further help us, I think so, with all your guiding what you gave. I think very important for us also is an observation to look at it and also collect some points from the mother. Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening with that particular answer. And I also appreciate the question from the participant. It's a
Yes,
very nice question put
very good
forward.
question.
Yes.
Very, very good question.
Yes, ma'am. So
Very
now,
practical.
yes, we have uploaded the feedback form on your chat box. Kindly fill it for your e-certificates on your email. Before we move forward to end up the session and to put up the flyer for the physiology department, which is supposed to be conducted on 5th of December, I request our Dr. Shreya Parrier, Assistant Professor of Department of Organ of Medicine with Homeopathic Philosophy, to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Dr. Shreya.
Good evening to one and all present here. As we have come to the end of today's session, I, on behalf of Yanapaya Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, extend a very hearty thanks to all those who have worked for this session in this overwhelming time. Firstly, I thank the Almighty for keeping us all safe and letting us to be a part of this session. I thank the management of Yanapaya University for allowing us to conduct the series of webinar and for supporting us throughout. Our ever enthusiastic principal and dean, Dr. Vivekanand V. Varnekar, professor and HOD, Department of Pharmacy, for his constant support and guidance. Thank you, sir. A big thank you to Dr. Shahala Nadaf, homeopathic consultant, Dr. Shahala Nadaf's Homeopathic Clinic, Belagavi, former associate professor, Department of Organon of Medicine, Bharatesh Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Belgaum, for explaining in detail how to assess temperament and its application in prescription with case discussion and how to apply theory into practice by integrating core subjects of homeopathy to treat the needy homeopathically. We are all inspired by your thoughtful session, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Special thanks to Dr. Shilpi Rastogi, Professor and HOD, Department of Anatomy, Web Series Coordinator. Dr. Janita Fernandez, Professor and HOD, Department of Organon of Medicine, for being the moderator of this session. Dr. Riswana A., Assistant Professor, Department of Organon of Medicine, faculty in charge of this national webinar. Dr. Apeksha Bhandari and Dr. Gino Joseph for the technical support from the staff. Mr. Thamim and IT section of Yanapoya University, thank you. I would like to end by giving a special thanks and a salute to all the doctors out there in the line of COVID-19 duty, risking their lives to make each one of us feel comfortable. Stay safe. Thanks, Dr. Shreya and Pariyar signing off.
Before we wind up the session, kindly have a look at your desktop or at your phone. We have a flyer of webinar of physiology department from Anapoya Homeopathic Medical College on 5th of December. Kindly look at the foot end of the flyer for the registration link. And please kindly come forward for registering. Before we end up the session, I once again request you to please fill the feedback form so that you will receive your email certificate on your email address. Thank you, one and all.
Ensure. Turn off the camera.
So once again, I remind you about the webinar on 5th of December, that's a Saturday, 2020, time 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Kindly note that the registration link is at the foot end of the flyer. Join for the same and make use of the webinar, which is on role of sodium in physiological functions and therapeutic indications of natrum group. So with this, we close the meeting for today. Once again, thank you one and all.